All right, look at this. Henry and RK.
Oh, I have Professor Dre on there.
No.
Oh.
You can call me Professor Henry if you want, Professor Hank.
Don't ever give Henry that type of responsibility to be a professor or anything important.
I feel like I could be a good professor.
I
Like you just sitting there. Like I wouldn't be like the kind
feel like
where
you'd be a
it's
TA.
No, I feel like I need to be at the front of the lecture hall just talking. The TA does all the real work. I just stand up there and give my thoughts on whatever it is for an hour a day.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
You are good at just giving your thoughts
I am.
uninterrupted for an hour a day.
I really am. It's like my one skill.
We didn't really give you a choice but to learn that skill.
Yeah, I can do that and I can watch football.
Oh,
So I'm prepared.
that's a
for
good
life.
one. Well, I know at least one of those things will come into play today. You're going to get to use your skill from 3 p.m. until about 9:30 p.m. tonight. How awesome is that?
It's pretty awesome. I still haven't settled in. Buffs football's back, so I have work to do still, and I haven't really processed okay, so write something a day, book an hour out for that. Is that first half of the Chiefs game? I'm thinking it might be first half of Cardinals Cowboys is what I'm gonna try to half pay attention to.
Okay. I plan on paying attention to all of it. I
You're a lucky
packed
man.
my whole day into a, what is that? 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 6-hour period instead of the standard
Wow.
8-hour period. Anyways, that's my life. How'd you do this weekend?
Well, the parlay profit boost got me. So if we're talking in terms of winning money or losing money, which I think is a pretty lame way to evaluate betting, I did very poorly. But
What's the other way to evaluate
well,
betting?
in terms of
Did
my
you have
takes,
fun?
I feel better about myself as a bettor coming out of the weekend than I did going into it. I did rely too much on the parlay, so I didn't batting 75% gets me nothing.
This is the Drew Lock conversation. You're bringing this to me. You did this on purpose.
That's exactly what this is.
You had a Drew Lock weekend.
Didn't hit the home run balls.
The stats weren't good, but the process was there.
It was so good. And if I had just split all those parlays, the bets on them evenly throughout my bets, I would have came away. I would probably be eating a steak dinner tonight.
Wow.
Instead, I have a can of soup. Just have to add 1 can of water to it and microwave it.
Water?
Because it's a smaller can now. It's still a 60-calorie Campbell's soup thing, but they took some of the
Just
liquid
condensed?
out. Yeah, so you pour it in the bowl, then you fill the can back up with water and pour that in. Otherwise, the can would have to be twice the size.
Huh. They're saving on can size.
They sure are.
I like this. This is efficient.
Yeah, that's my night.
You are trying to condense your bets into the smaller can when you need to just get 3 large cans.
A couple of big cans might have been a good idea. Oh,
You need
there
more
were just so
cans
many
in
little
your
things
weekend.
where it's even Washington coming back, pulling within 1. Well, I got him at plus 2.5. That was one that I thought was gonna miss, and even that came back around. There were just a couple of others the Rams, the Packers, and that just ruins the entire day for me.
I had an incredible weekend up until the 2 o'clock starts yesterday. And then I got flat out murdered. The Packers, I made the quintessential bettor's mistake. And honestly, I feel like I had a Drew Lock game here. The process was there because this is a tried and true method. Packers go up 10-0, right? So I'm in on the Packers before the game.
Yeah. Oh,
Packers
yeah,
go up 10-0. Cool, I was right to be on them before the game. It's all going to go great. They're going to blow them out and win. Then everything dramatically changes over a, 2-minute period?
Yeah, pick 6, and that pick that turns into a touchdown.
So at this point, I'm like, haha, I've got the book right where I want them. Because the Packers process has been better this entire game, except for this little aberration in the middle of the game. So I double down when they're down 14-10. They go down 21-10.
I should add, you sent to the chat, me, you, and Dre, that you were doubling down, and so we all doubled down, and so we're all in the same boat.
Okay, I'm not taking the blame for that. I was just sharing that it was a good opportunity to double
It was
down.
a good opportunity.
So you think the process right here makes sense because they've been dominating the game except for this little aberration. Well, then they go down 21-10. And now this is the old sunk cost fallacy. You've already invested in it. The value's now gone up again to plus 700. And you're like, okay, well, now I have to do it again. Which you don't actually have to do that. But you
There's
feel
no
as
rule.
if So I tripled down on the Packers. I've never seen a more dramatic momentum shift in a game. The Packers had 100% of the momentum.
They looked incredible. They looked unstoppable. The Bucs defense, which is supposed to be like one of the best in football, could not even slow them down through those first 2 drives. And then boom, 38 straight points.
And so they throw a pick 6, and they went from having 100% of the momentum to 0% of the momentum, and they were never able to even get 1 percentage point back in the rest of the game.
Not at all. It was just a disaster.
Craziest momentum shift I've ever seen. Anyways, that one killed me, and then I did, what everyone does, and I tried to get back what I lost by going harder on the Sunday night game.
I always get you.
And that gets you. So I still actually ended the day up a little bit, but I was up a lot of bit, and now I'm only up a little bit.
I finished the day down. There was like a moment where things were looking really bright because of the Broncos. I had that money line. But I'd sprinkled the money line and mostly just put it in parlays. And so I didn't get too much out of it.
Yeah. You didn't use parlays. What's
it's
up,
awful.
Al?
It's an awful feeling.
Someone in the comments saying, last $4 on the account.
Oh, no.
What do I do?
This is where I shine.
Such a great
This is
dilemma.
where I shine. This is like, for some of us who don't just have like unlimited amounts of money to throw away, when you get on a bad streak, you have to start just like betting smaller and smaller amounts. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, like there have been times when it's been like $1.76. How are we turning this $1.76? And you work it all the way up to $20 and you're like, okay, 50-50, throw it on the Broncos. Can we get something out of it? I don't know what to do today, but this is the most fun scenario in betting in my mind.
No, it's
back
the
up
least
against the
fun
wall.
scenario.
Oh, it's like, and again, that's because you look at everything in betting in terms of like making money or losing money. To me, like this situation,
Most
trying to dig
people
out
do
of it.
that.
Actually, I don't look at it that way. I look at it as did I have fun? Because I've often said, if you are in this to make money, most people are going to have a bad time. If you're in this to make a 3:00 game on a Monday afternoon more fun to watch, you'll win every game.
That is true.
You only win when your goal is to have more fun watching sports. So that's how I view things. Now, it will be less fun when you just like have a terrible bet and you lose a bunch of money, such as
Do you want to answer his question?
last night. We're working
yeah.
towards it.
Yeah.
Are you?
It's
Yes.
a process.
Does it feel like?
We're just buying time because we don't know what to say yet. Okay, so if I viewed all of my bets the way I did when I had $4 in my account, I think I would actually make money on these things. Because you just take one
Yeah.
thing, you're like, I just gotta get a dub. Just get a dub and keep stacking dubs. For some reason, like last night, I get up so big and I'm like, all right, now I can really just let it fly.
I know.
And that never works. Okay, so $4 in the account. Obviously, your goal here would be to double the 4, and then you have 8 to bet on the second game. That's the way I would look at this. So, what you're going to do is you're going to find your favorite. You know what? I say just put it on Chiefs -5.5.
I think that's a good bet. I messed around and just checked out what would happen if you parlayed Chiefs to win with Cardinals to win, and that gets you to +184, which I kind of like. I do think that the Chiefs cover, though, and that changes that +184 to +282, so you're getting another $4.
So you're trying to parlay here.
I felt like in this situation, like, you know that whatever happens in the first game, you're going to be betting that in the second game anyway, right? Like, you're going to find something that you're going to put it on. The only thing that you're handcuffing yourself is that, like, you can't wait until halftime and play a live line in the second game. So I'd rather just take your favorite pick from the second game, parlay it with the first.
And you're saying if you lose the first one, you're going to bet it on the second one anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you win the first one, now you're in a profitable position. You can take the buyout, do whatever you want.
Yep, I think a 2-game slate is just perfect for this strategy.
I hate you.
Do you miss Andre?
Yeah, I don't know why Henry's so much more convincing with the I almost cursed with the damn parlays.
I want to be a professor. Now that my mind is still tied to that. Let me manipulate people for now.
And you can do this. You can,
Just change. Yeah.
and you of course have the 20% profit boost.
On parlays, that's right.
Yes.
Oh, so now you have to. Wow, that's
So-
the last piece of the argument. That's perfect.
So Chiefs +5.5, Cardinals +1. That gets you to plus 318.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel in this situation? I think I do like the +1 better, just to give yourself like some chance of holding on to your money.
Yeah.
But what are the odds it's a 1-point game?
I don't know, but I always think like, is it really worth it to lose on in a 1-point game?
The exact opposite of my thought.
Versus 10% on the bet.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Especially if we are going Chiefs -5.5 instead of taking just the money line safe option.
Oh, so you actually have to take Chiefs -5.5 to get the profit boost.
Oh, so yeah, I think
because
that's the
you
move.
can't have a leg in your parlay of over -200.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I think we figured out what the move is.
I
And
think
the only
this
other
is the
option
risky
is
move.
But what's the other option then?
The other option for him at $4 left in the account is to take the 5.5. Then if you win, you have some breathing room. You can double down in the second game. You know what I mean? So you go from 4 to 8, then you put the 8 on there. Then now you have 16. Versus, it really works out to be the same.
Yeah. To me, I'm just pulling the trigger, and I'm taking that parlay profit boost too.
All right, I'm with you.
Is it worth buying points though, since we are going with the parlay route? Changing that to like 7.5 and +3.
But you won't get the boost.
Oh no, you wouldn't, would you? You have to take one of
You
those.
could, let's go like game lines, alternate lines. So you could, here's what you could do, is you could sell a little bit to get it under -200. So you could go Chiefs -2.5. Let me make sure this works. Chiefs -2.5, Cardinals +1. Now you can still use the bonus offer. That gets you +224.
That might be the move. Actually, though, I might be more interested on buying Cardinals points than buying Chiefs points. I think that the Chiefs had that
both.
5.5 covered. You could do both.
So let's see now. Let's see. We're talking.
This is going to be the perfect bet when we're done with this.
This is like perfect murder, but the perfect bet. All right. So you want as many Cardinals points as possible. You can get 5 points. Now you're with the boost +150. So you've got Chiefs -2.5, Cardinals +5. And now it's +150.
I mean, you feel good about it.
You always feel good about it. No one has ever put a bet in their bet slip that they didn't feel good about.
Yeah, I think to me, if it's my $4, I'm going to say just take these standard lines, 5.5 and +1, throw them out there and just watch the games and see if it works out for
And
you.
now you're up like closer to $20 at the end of it.
Yep. And then what? Maybe you have two $10 bets out of that.
Yep.
Probably
win
go 1-1
you're
and
still
you're back
alive.
where you are.
Or you go 2-0. Now you're up to 40, and now you can really breathe.
Unless you want parlay.
What's up?
Okay, we've got another comment saying, Grazer here saying, spent my last $4.55 on Bills money line.
Oh.
Okay, so, well, get ready for another deposit.
No, so I actually think the Bills have a chance to win this one.
Huh.
But you made a really smart point to me earlier, which is just like, it's kind of, we go back to Drew Lock. If you bet on the Chiefs and lose, you felt like you had the right process.
Yeah.
If you bet on the Bills and they get blown out, you feel like an idiot.
Exactly. But it's like this thing. I brought up the Alabama-Georgia game from this weekend where it's like Alabama is just unstoppable offensively. They have two of the best receivers in the country, like two top 3 receivers. Yeah, seriously. They have a quarterback who's more efficient hitting deep balls than anybody. They're going up against a really good defense in Georgia. Maybe they'll slow them down, but Alabama's going to do what Alabama always does. And I feel like that is exactly what's happening in this game with the Chiefs offense being so similar to what Alabama does to college football teams. The Bills being like the tough defense. They're at home. It's supposed to be kind of chilly, but cool. You called the Bills. I would take the Chiefs. They're going to run away.
I think this is a really interesting point you bring up because I think there's actually you could draw Alabama, Georgia into Kansas City versus the Bills and almost expect a similar game arc. So like you could take Bills first quarter, Bills first half.
That.
or like under in the first quarter, under in the first half, and then at halftime take the over in the third, over in the in the half.
What I do is probably
Someone, Vincent here is saying, supposed to start raining at 6:30
Mm-hmm.
in Buffalo. Does this mean anything for 1H and game over?
Oh, for first half and game. Maybe. Here's what I say: the worse the weather is, the more you bet on Patrick Mahomes. Like, if we're just about making money here, this is the strategy. If you just look in his career, he literally has said publicly, now he might just be gassing himself up a little bit, but he literally said, like, he thinks he throws the ball better in the snow.
Yeah.
The guy's a freak.
He is a freak. And to me, like, there might be something to, like, the first half Bills thing where you
They
watch
hold
the
them
first
close.
quarter and you're like, okay, second quarter, I think it's going to stay close, and then maybe that's where you make your bet. In terms of, like, the weather affecting the Chiefs,
So what I realized,
I hate the Chiefs, but it's the Chiefs. They're going to be just fine.
What I realized when the Broncos played the Chiefs in the snow, and I thought, okay, well, this might help the Broncos because it'll throw off the timing. What I realized is that the worse the weather is, the harder it just is on the defense because they have to change directions, whereas the offense knows exactly where they're going.
And it's not going to stop Patrick Mahomes from throwing a perfect ball.
Nothing can stop that
Nope.
except for pressure with 4 or less.
Pressure meaning he's on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chiefs over under here is set at 29.5. If you have any belief in the Bills whatsoever, you have to take the under.
Yeah.
Right? The only path they have to winning is like 27-24 or something.
Yeah. I mean, that offense has been fairly explosive compared to the past. In those first few weeks, they looked really good. Maybe they could win in a shootout, but
I guess 9 out of Patrick Mahomes' 10 losses have come when the opponent scored 31 or more points. So I guess it's not that you believe in the defense. It's you have to believe in the offense.
Yeah.
Under 29.5 is plus 120 though. So if you like that Bills defense,
Tempting.
it's tempting.
It's tempting.
But again, if they score 21 points in the first quarter, like, first of all, you won't be surprised.
No, you won't.
And you'll just be mad at yourself.
Yep. And that's what we're trying to avoid here.
We're trying to just make this more fun.
Yeah. Get the right process.
The process it's all about the process. You got to trust it.
Don't look too much at your bank account.
Okay. You're going to make me chase value here, and I'm just going to end up taking this straight up parlay or plus 3 whatever. And maybe it'll be great.
Chiefs touchdown is first score plus 155.
Chiefs score the first touchdown plus 155? Is that what you mean?
But like Chiefs
that's
field
the
goal is
first
another
score.
option. First score is a Chiefs touchdown. I kind of like
Makes sense
that.
to me.
Yeah, it's what I'd expect.
But they have been starting kind of slow. So
maybe they have a concerted effort to not do that now that it's become a trend.
I wonder if Andy Reid's going to go into his bag a little bit on that first drive to try and jumpstart things. It would make sense to me.
I would like to see it.
Because you're about to bet on this?
Yeah.
Any player props that interest you? I thought Patrick Mahomes' passing yards was a little too high, 305.5.
Yeah, he's only hit that twice this year. There was another game where I think he threw for like 303 and was like right there. It's a toss-up to me. Again, I'm just not going to take the under on passing yards from Patrick Mahomes. Like, that's just not a bet I'm comfortable making. If anything, I'm taking the over, and right now I think I'm going to stay away.
So what I really like is Josh Allen passing yards. They're going to have to huck this thing a lot. He's thrown over 300 yards, I think, in every game, if not just every win.
Not in the last 2.
Oh.
Last game he went backward. 263 last week, 288 before that. But to start the season, 312, 415, 311.
Okay.
So, and he has covered it.
What are those defenses that
3
they went up
times.
against in those 3 games?
Jets, Dolphins, Rams. So not the most impressive. And then they slowed
Rams?
down. Yeah, Rams, so solid. Yeah.
But I mean,
Also Jets and Dolphins.
I don't know if they're gonna try and do what. Well, how much did Derek Carr throw for last week? I'm asking you a lot of questions. I'm sorry.
You are. I can get that one though.
The reason I ask is because I think offensively, you should copy exactly what the Raiders did last week. Now, of course, they're going to have counters to what that was, but basically run the ball and take shots.
Yeah, 347 for Derek Carr last week.
I'm taking it.
Derek Carr's been kind of nice this year.
Actually, then I'm betting against myself. Ugh.
Yeah.
This is terrible. This is a tough one. All right, let's move on to the next game.
Okay.
Since we've basically already settled in on that parlay.
We have.
Cardinals, Cowboys. I
A lot
feel
of people asking about this one.
really confident in the Cardinals, and it scares me. Because
You conflicted your thoughts
I know
really quickly there.
that's what betting's all about. Just questioning your own thoughts on things.
You're so confident that you're now no longer confident.
Yes. I obviously have internal bias towards the Cardinals.
Oh, we know.
Because I love Kyler Murray and I also love Cliff Kingsbury. So I'm just like, in my head, I feel like they should be scoring a lot of points in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
One person is bringing up a point about the earlier game, but they said last Bills game, Hank said take the under in Josh Allen running yards. Took it and won. Do I double down on it now?
Depends on what that line is at.
I don't like betting against quarterback rushing yards in big games.
I like making money, so.
That's not the point here. The point is that
31 and a
the
half.
bigger the game is, the more risks quarterbacks are willing to take with their body.
Okay, but listen to this.
I will.
The line is set at 31 and a half rushing yards.
Uh-huh.
Seems reasonable. Fast guy. He did have 57 rushing yards in the first game when he ran 14 times. Since then, he hasn't run more than 4 times in a game. He hasn't had more than 19 rushing yards. You should be taking that under.
So, to me, this is a clear directive from the coaching staff, right? Because I know that Josh Allen wants to run. So they're telling him not to.
That's what it looks like. Or maybe they even literally said, like, you cannot run the ball more than 4 times. That's what the numbers look like. 4 attempts, 4 attempts, 3 attempts, 4 attempts.
I just think they're saying, like, we can't afford to get you hurt. Like, we're a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Stop running.
And do you think that changes tonight?
No. I think you're right here.
Okay.
But I'm not going to do it.
I'm going to do it.
We're back to the second game. I really feel like this Cowboys defense is porous.
Yes.
The process of the Cardinals offense is awesome. And they should be able to just rack up points in this.
I will say that what scares me is that the Cowboys' biggest weakness has been stopping the run. Like, I think the only 5 teams have been giving up more rushing yards per game. The Cardinals don't necessarily have a good running game. Like, Kenyon Drake was supposed to be the big new thing. It hasn't worked out. They've been passing a lot.
I tried to tell people that, by the way, in like the whole fantasy conversation.
You were right.
Like, don't. Anyways.
Just because he's now in a situation doesn't mean he's a good running back.
Well, and also just like you don't pick the running back on like Mike Leach's team to have big games. Like, why would you do it with Cliff Kingsbury?
Very true.
I realize that there's a part of them that wants to run the ball more just because this is the NFL and you can't pass the ball on every play. But anyways,
Yeah.
aside from the point.
My only question, though, is that, like, while other teams have had success running the ball and that's kind of opened everything else up, do the Cardinals just go out there and have to throw, and when they just drop 8 defenders, it finally works out for the Cowboys? But I totally agree. I do think that this is a game the Cardinals should win.
I think it's a game the Cardinals should win. I think it's a game that they should score a bunch of points.
Yes.
So I like Cardinals team total over 27.5.
Yep.
I think that that's going to hit. And on the same accord, the public perception of the Cardinals defense is very different from the actual Cardinals defense.
Huh.
Just guess as where they are in the league in terms of points per game allowed.
Well, it's tough with the lead-in you gave me to give, like, an unbiased guess, but I would say, like, they're probably fringe bottom 10, maybe in the bottom 10.
They're 5th.
Wow.
5th best defense in scoring this season.
That's pretty crazy.
So at least they were before the weekend started. I don't know how much it's moved now.
Yeah.
It's really crazy, and it's impressive. And
it is.
That's why they've been in game. They've been constantly in every game, except for the one where Kyler Murray just kind of imploded, which was so weird. I never thought he would do that.
Yeah.
And I said after that game that Kyler Murray is not throwing 3 interceptions in a game again, and I stand by that. So
it's a hot take.
Maybe, yeah, at least the rest of this year. 27.5 is the same number for the Cowboys, and I think that's an under. But
that one scares me more.
But this is where
I would rather just to put 2 bets on the Cardinals than 1 on each.
That's fine. You don't need to hit both of these. But like I said, betting's all about questioning your own leans. Mm-hmm. I also am an Andy Dalton believer.
Yeah, I kind of just want you to have to sit in that one. I mean, okay, Ryan, why are you an Andy Dalton believer?
Well, I think Andy Dalton was held down by the just entirety of suck that the Cincinnati Bengals franchise is.
And you don't think any of it rubbed off on him? You don't think he became a Bengal?
I think he did. He literally almost looks like one.
He does.
But no, I think that in this offense, with these weapons, his job is so easy. It's just get the ball to the open guy, and I think he's extremely capable of that. That's why he was such a, this is a guy who beat Russell Wilson head-to-head in, I think, the Rose Bowl in college. Like, his job was just to get it to his playmakers then. That's all it is now. Also, when you think of the Andy Dalton era in Cincinnati, you just think like, oh, they were trash every year. They weren't. They were like average to above average every year. And that was with the Bengals. Yeah. So I think, this is a classic case of like, this is what's going to happen with Baker Mayfield. Is everyone's going to think Baker sucks because he's on the Browns. But one day he might get an opportunity somewhere else. Same thing will happen.
Wow. So you just doubled down on your Andy Dalton take by using it as an example of why Baker Mayfield
why I'm
going
to later double down on my Baker Mayfield take.
Okay. Just to play devil's advocate here. So the Cowboys haven't been able to win football games with Dak Prescott. Mm-hmm. Dak Prescott played 4 games before he got hurt. He had the 3 games among quarterbacks in the NFL with the most passing yards. His 3rd best passing game was 450 passing yards. You lose that. Mm-hmm. You bring in the backup. Before, when they had those 450 passing yards, they still weren't winning games. Do you want me
to stop you? I'll just stop you here. I'm not a believer in the Cowboys now. I'm simply a believer in Andy Dalton. And you can profit off of that.
Okay.
Like, over 289.5 passing yards. I think that hits.
I think that there's a good chance that hits. I'm not betting on Andy Dalton yet. That's where I'm at. I'm not taking the over. I'm not taking the under.
You can, when he throws for 424 tonight, and then they adjust the lines next week, you can have missed the boat.
I think we have information about how much Josh Allen's going to run the ball. We know nothing about what's going to happen with Andy Dalton, and I'm not touching it.
What I know is that he can get the ball to open receivers, and that this offense creates them.
If you know that, then you make your bet, Ryan.
All right, I will, and I'm gonna profit off that. And I also like Kyler Murray over 285.5. I think this is gonna be a shootout in terms of yards, but I don't think the Cardinals have that bend don't break thing going, and so I think that they are able to eventually stop. Because like that's the difference, right? The difference between Andy Dalton and Dak Prescott, in my opinion, is that Dak Prescott has the ability to get the ball in the end zone when all is said and done.
Yep.
Dalton can get the ball to the open guy. The problem is when you get into the red zone, as the Broncos learned yesterday, the windows are tiny, the margin for error gets smaller, and that I don't know if he's going to be able to do. But also I do think he's going to be able to rack up yards.
I do wonder, like, that offensive line is not what it has been in the past. Has Dak been compensating for that? And I can't say that I've been paying too much attention to Cowboys games, so I can't say like that he has been or hasn't been. But that is a question on my mind. Like, is the statue Andy Dalton just going to get beaten up?
It's possible. I don't think he's as much of a statue as you think he is. I think the perception versus reality on Andy Dalton, I think, is
the red rifle.
Yeah, exactly.
Put some respect on that man's name.
Last thing, if you're just throwing a dart here, you can get the first touchdown protection. And I kind of like Kyler Murray. First touchdown.
Okay.
Plus 1,100.
I can get there. See, I would feel more comfortable with like a Zeke because I do think at some point Zeke is going to score, and so you're going to get your money back. It's not as much of a payday if he does get the first touchdown. But I do see a world in which Kyler Murray gets the first rushing touchdown against like a super I don't even know what to say. Just not disciplined defense that's going to be focused on all the receivers and not even paying attention to the running game.
One more thing I like. I'm a big believer in CeeDee Lamb as a security blanket for Andy Dalton. Because like I said, he can find open receivers. CeeDee Lamb's drawing really good matchups, and he's going to be open.
Yeah.
So over 61.5 receiving yards for CD.
I'd hope that wouldn't be that high. If you're going to take that, why not take Amari Cooper at 65.5?
Because he's not getting as good of a matchup.
Okay.
He's going to have to go up against Pat Pete.
It's true.
Yes? Oh. So, anyways, those are. I feel much more confident in my view of the second game than the first game.
I kind of feel the opposite.
Well, let's take all of your picks in the first one and all
It's
of mine in the
perfect.
second.
It's perfect. Under on Josh Allen rushing yards.
Should I just put the whole count on that?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
I
need a house so
I
I
have
can
more than
mortgage it.
$4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, that is our stream of consciousness as we enter this Monday night doubleheader. You got every thought that I have on these two games. So good luck to you, Hank, and to the rest of the people. We will talk to you tomorrow on DNVR Bets Daily.